Hi and welcome back. This is episode 3 of my guide to a good life. Every day when I sit at my desk, I think about how I'm going to present the next podcast to you. I keep reading my books 60 years ago and current ones written by medical researchers, scientists, doctors, nutritionists to try and find the important facts that I can relate to you, make it simple enough so you can understand and you will be more aware of what is happening to your body and what you are eating. I hope that you could learn what I have over the last 40 years. Today, there's a huge focus on aging, and it's an awful fact of life. We start to show the signs of aging from the time we are 30. And when we were in our teens and in our early 20s, we could eat and drink, do whatever we liked, and we'd even boast that we had a double Whopper burger with a milkshake and French fries, and we feel great. You see, the diseases of today started then. It doesn't happen suddenly. You can abuse your stomach, your digestive system, up till a point, and then it gives up. We pay more attention to our cars than our bodies. And I want you to realize that our bodies are the most important thing that you need to look after. I don't want to make it all doom and gloom coming from me, because honestly, I never believed I would be alive at this age. At the time I thought, gosh, 50, that's really old. I don't want to be that old. Because we are now, I would think, obsessed with aging and will do anything to try and slow the signs of aging. Advertising has become so predominant in our lives, and we, like sheep, tend to follow what is being said. A pill or a cream to help your wrinkles, to get you feeling more virile, to have energy. They will pick on everything that we are thinking about or worried about or feeling there's something wrong with our health. The main thing which is being ignored is that we need to exercise more. And I wish governments would take over these advertisements and give us some incentive to perhaps join a gym or take a form of a social activity and give us a subsidy. This would, in fact, remove the billions that are spent on healthcare every year. And you can see it. It's very apparent. And the amusing thing is, when someone reaches 100 years old, you will see them surrounded by family and friends with their cake with 100 candles, and a reporter will come and shove a microphone in their face and say, well, what is your secret to getting to 100? And you will get the most comical answers, like, oh, I drink 2 glasses of gin a day, or I make sure I have a poker game twice a week, or it could be anything. Or some of them still say, I still smoke. But this is not the point. The point is not how they got to 100, but how do they feel when they are 100? Are they happy to be that age? Are they happy with their lives? Are they suffering from anything? This is the important question, not how you got to 100. You can choose between getting old or becoming old. Nobody wants to live a long life feeling unhealthy. And the cost for you is not so much money, but it's time. Buying fresh food, preparing in your kitchen, learning a little bit more of how to portion your food and the combination of the foods you have, that takes time. But as I said before, time is the same element for people who are rich and poor. We both have the same amount of time, and it's how we use it. And don't be misled when you hear on the radio, oh, it's the poor socio-economic groups that suffer more from ill health. And that's not true. If you watch the wealthy, the mega rich on TV, do you think they are healthy? Do you think they are of the right mind whenever they come up with the most ridiculous things? Do you see the shape of their bodies? Do you see their eyes or their expression? They also suffer from ill health. So it doesn't just attack one group. Everybody, even the richest of the rich, get sick and are not healthy. So you can't buy health, but you have the time. It's a matter of attitude and choice. And I thought what might be a good idea today is to show you or explain how we digest our food. I don't think you realize how simply amazing and intelligent our organs are in absorbing the nutrition, in distributing it to our organs, our glands, for our hormones, for every single part of our body. If you understand this, you hopefully will have a bit more respect in how you treat it. I found a lovely book in the children's section of the library. It's called Your Growling Guts, and we will give you the details of this book, and hopefully you will get it, read it, and talk about it to your children. And I believe children have got such an amazing, absorbing mind. They will remember what you tell them and use it as they grow up to decide whether they're going to pick up a pack of twisties or they're going to ask you, can you please give us some nuts and dried fruits to have as a snack? We don't want to buy junk food. So first, you start eating an apple or a pastry or your rice or whatever you're eating. Your digestion starts in the mouth. As you chew, which I often have said, chewing is very, very important. It stimulates your saliva, it stimulates your gums, you're using your teeth, your jaw. Again, we are not chewing as much. We are buying smoothies and fruit juices. To me, an apple does the trick. So you chew, saliva is formed, and the saliva contains an enzyme called amylase. Amylase already starts to digest the carbs. And as your food goes down the esophagus to your stomach, it starts to be blended and churned like a cement mixer, if you like. The stomach produces a strong acid called hydrochloric acid, and that helps to digest the food and turns it into chyme before it enters your small intestines. You will be amazed at your stomach. Now, it's the same size, whether a person's tall, big, thin, it's the same size as your fist. But it can expand to hold 2 liters of water. So you can keep on eating and your stomach will expand. But please be aware that you won't know you are full until an hour later. So you need to be a little bit careful when you get carried away with food that is in front of you. It is discipline. You need discipline to know when to stop, because your brain doesn't know that yet. So give yourself time. Stop when you think you've had enough, because your stomach's not going to make any objections. It will later if you overeat. The process of digestion in your stomach is much easier when you don't overload it with too much food. The purpose of having my citrus fruits first thing in the morning is because they are acidic and they are traveling through your system. You need an empty stomach because you don't want it to stay there too long. And that will help your metabolism work harder. Your sugars will be metabolized and it will go through to your colon as a wonderful cleanser. So your stomach's full, it's churning, it's processing, and it's finished depending on what you have eaten. Starches alone could take up to 2.5 hours to be completely eliminated from your stomach, going through to your small intestines. Proteins, depending on how much you eat, would take around 4 to 5 hours. If you mix them all together, starches, rice, potatoes, pasta, meat, chicken, fish, could be up to 7 hours. And the longer it takes, the slower your metabolism. So you need to be aware of that. As the chyme goes through different stages, it will reach your small intestines. Now, the word small is a little bit deceptive because your small intestine is actually 20 centimeters of lining, and it's the walls. In these walls of your small intestines, there are small, little finger-like villi. These villi are actually your immune system. They are your T cells, and they will absorb the nutrition from what you have eaten and distribute them through your liver, kidneys, organs. And each organ has a part to play with the different types of nutrition that's passing through it. Processed foods are not good for your villi. The more of that you eat, the more you wear down these villi and T cells. So over the years, they become compromised and they're not going to help you fight your battles against bacteria and viruses. After the small intestine lays out this chyme and says what's good, what's bad. And remember, the food that it has to get rid of is not only food, because our cells die and they are thrown off and then they are regenerated. So you get all this stuff coming through your small intestine and it's going through to your large intestines. Your large intestine is your colon, and they call it now the gut. Here there is waste, and here is what will happen to the waste if you have enough fiber. And the best thing you can do to get rid of this waste is a very simple thing that I have done for 40 years, and that's have a large salad before my dinner. The salad, the lettuce, the celery, the capsicums, the cucumbers, or the apples, all have this vital raw enzymes and the fiber that I'm sure once you eat this and chew it, you will feel good. And I'd like you to tell me how you feel when you have this. I guarantee you it's the best way to start a meal. And even when I go out for dinner, I make sure I will have a carrot or a celery or a fennel before I leave because I want this fiber in me before I start my meal. So this fiber that you've eaten will come out with your digested food. And this will help. It works like a broom to clear the walls of your large intestine so that it can slowly, and this is what it does every second of the day. The walls of your large intestine contract, release, pushing the waste right down until it comes out when you do your number twos. So back to the colon now. If you have things that are there that haven't been removed because you haven't had enough fiber or water, then fermentation takes place. And the colon then, in trying to remove it, creates a mucus. And as a result of that, there is inflammation. So one thing will lead to another, and you will have the symptoms of gas and flatulence and bloatedness. And you need to be adapting to what is happening and try and alleviate these symptoms. So if you're on antibiotics, try and have a good yogurt or kefir yogurt, which is very high in pre and probiotics. Drink more water. Do not take antibiotics without drinking enough water. You can harm your stomach when you do that. There's so many factors, and I'm not a doctor to be able to explain every single one, but I know from reading and talking to people what can happen when you are eating foods that are not compatible or not helpful for your body. Your colon tries its best. It works ceaselessly to help you. All your organs are doing their best. So why are we disrupting this amazing system we were born with? If we're lucky enough to be born healthy without any medical defects, then be grateful that you have this gift. It is a gift. Don't abuse it. As I said, we look after our cars, we look after our house, and we don't look after ourselves. Every time you eat something good, you are helping your life get more enriched. I can pick out people who are not eating well. Again, they might be having problems like stress, anxiety, problems with their family or personal problems. And we all have this. We try and cover it up by doing something worse. For example, we might think we need a drink to calm us down, or we might take up smoking, or now it's drugs to maybe help us feel better. But you're just making a problem that could have been fixed bigger. I look at it this way. If I need to unchill, I'll go for a walk. I won't look at my phone. I will absorb nature. I'll absorb what's around me. And I know that when I come back, a lot of my tension and anxiety would have gone. I go to the gym 3 times a week to help my mind work. And I know I can't remember what I did 5 minutes ago. But if that's the only thing that's happened to me, I'm happy. I will give you the details of this book. And of course, there's more to it than what I have talked to you about. And slowly you will see that we have far more intelligence in here than any nanochip that will ever be created. After you hopefully read a bit of this book, you might then realize I'm not that crazy after all or obsessive. I do enjoy things that I used to eat a lot of before. Reaching this age, which I never thought would happen, if I'm lucky enough, on the 29th of May, 2049, to celebrate 100 years. And a reporter came to interview me and ask me, what is your secret to reaching this age? And I would say, I read a book called Diet and Salad, and it's all about the colon. And I'm sure you would have heard about it by now. I will see you in episode 4 and bring you a lot more from the books I've read, and I truly would love you to read some of them. They are probably something you never thought that you would make the time to do, but because they're not novels, every page you read will give you information that is valuable, and they are written by dedicated researchers. Some spend 30 years of their lives getting books like this together. They are well written. They are simple enough to understand. It is what everybody needs to know. It's not what you see on television. The ads will not help you live longer. They will take your money, and that's all they're meant to do. So be aware. Take care of yourselves. I'll see you soon.